This is how I reversed hair loss at 18 years old. Now I'm going to talk about how it felt to start losing my hair at such a young age. Yeah, it really was discouraging, man. I have to be honest, I was embarrassed, lost my confidence, constantly was trying to wear hats, just trying to cover it up. Also, I was in a denial for a big part of it because what happened was, right, I was in the spa with my mates, nothing sus, and then my mate looks at me and he's a barber, and he looks at me and he goes, Jacob, your hair's looking sick. I'm like I had this reaction of what are you talking about? My hair looks sick. I have great hair. What are you talking about? And you're just like, nah, bro, you gotta do something. I don't know what you gotta do, but you gotta do something because it's looking really sick. And at the time I didn't believe him and I didn't even think anything was wrong with my hair. And even after that, that comment got to me a bit, right? And I went into the mirror. I was looking at myself in the mirror. I was checking out my hair and I was it's not that bad. Then I went further and I started looking at old photos of my hair. And that's when I realized that, oh shit, what has happened? Where's my hair gone? Why is it not as thick? Why does it look like how it currently looks? And it was just thin, wispy, and I didn't even notice it, right? And the hairline was receding, and it was just a scary period because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to stop this hair loss from occurring. So as I did, like most people, I just didn't do anything for a while. When I found out, it was probably January 2020 when my mate told me. I didn't do anything. I was just oh, it's just okay, maybe it's a bad hair day, it will just stop itself. I didn't really know what to do. I didn't know that androgenic alopecia is something that constantly keeps going. At the time I was just maybe it'll grow back, maybe it's just bad hair, I don't know. I honestly don't even really remember what I thought, but I remember there was no sense of urgency. There was no sense of I knew what to do because I didn't know what to do. So I just left it up until May. And then in May, I looked at my hair and I was oh shit, this is really, really bad. I have to do something. So then I remember my father told me about finasteride. Not that he even knows about it. He started searching up on his phone and finasteride came up. So what I did, went to the doctor, got a finasteride prescription, and yeah, started taking finasteride. But during this period of time, I really was skeptical of finasteride and the side effects, because I remember the doctor telling me the potential side effects. Then I would go into Reddit forums, I'd go into research on finasteride, and it was all bad stories about how they have post-finasteride syndrome and just all this fear mongering, right? And I really believe that I placeboed myself into feeling that way. And I was on semen retention at the time, and my mental health was really bad, and I really believed that finasteride was the cause of this. So I did it for 4 months at the time, from May to September, and in that time my hair actually got way worse, and I was losing way more hair. It looked terrible, and I was just what's the point of this? Obviously it's not working, you know what I mean? Just really stupid in hindsight, right? And I went off it, and I was okay, it's causing me depression, I'm gonna get off it. So I got off finasteride. That's when it started to get really, really bad, and that's when I started treatment in December, late December 28th, because I knew if I didn't do anything, my hair would go. I'd have to be that bald dude, but I was 19 now, and I would have been 19 and bald. And I remember it was really embarrassing. It was really embarrassing because when I wouldn't wear a hat, it was really obvious, and I had a different type of hair loss, whereas my hair loss was a diffused thinning hair loss. So that's why I diffused thinning all over, even on the sides. The only thing that wasn't thinning is the back, and it just looked really terrible. And I didn't have it in me to cut my hair or shave my hair off. And I remember when I moved to Melbourne, I hadn't seen family in so long. Last time I saw me, I had really nice hair, because this happened so rapidly. And I remember my family was oh, take off your hat, I haven't seen you with your hair, because I got a crop at the time. I removed curtains, I got a crop to cover it, and try to cover as much hair as I could. But yeah, I remember taking off my hat, and to be fair, I wore a hat for 12 hours on the drive to Melbourne. I remember my family just looking at my hair going, ah, right. I was just yeah. It was really awful. And I remember one of my aunties was bald's coming in, bald's coming in, so you don't need to worry. I'm oh my god, I'm that guy? I'm that guy? like I'm getting the talk of like, man, you should probably shave it off. It's the time to like shave it off. Like it doesn't look like it's happening. You know what I mean? It looks like it's the end for you. It's time to like get rid of it. And I was like, no, nah, this can't be me. Not in my teens, like not at 19, not in my 20s. Like this can't be me. And a bit more about myself is that I always had long hair, man. I always had long, luscious hair. I used to have my hair like up to here, and it was long, thick, and that's what I'd rock. I looked like every surfer dude, even though I don't surf, but I always had long, luscious hair, right? So it was a part of my identity, and it was so hard to like swallow this pill. And then I did end up swallowing a pill, you know, the red pill finasteride. That's when it all changed for me. So after that, I remember going watch, and I remember my cousins, everyone, my family was so like, you can't do anything about this. And so yeah, that's when I started treatment full on, and we're going to get into it. But before I get into it, I want you to understand a bit about hair loss. If you don't understand how hair loss works, I'm going to explain it to you just quickly, right? We all that are men produce testosterone, right? Now, unfortunately for some unlucky men, your hair follicles, you know, the androgen receptors on your head may be sensitive to DHT. And, you know, especially if you have the androgenic alopecia genome, you are technically fucked. In a sense, your hair will start miniaturizing and going, right? And what DHT does, it latches onto, you know, the hair follicle and it starts miniaturizing it. And the form of action, right, is that your hair has 3 cycles that it goes through. It has the anagen phase, which is like the growth phase, and this can last like 3 to 5 years. Then it has the catagen phase, which is the resting phase, right? And this is where your hair is about to go through the telogen phase, which is the 3rd phase, but it's in the resting phase and it just stays. It doesn't grow, and then it falls out like 2 weeks later, and it goes into the telogen phase of, you know, removing the hair. It leaves the follicle, and like a new hair will start growing. But what happens, right, is with DHT, it miniaturizes the hair on your scalp. So it literally limits the anagen phase, and it increases the catagen and the telogen phase of the hair cycle. And it does this enough times where your hair just gets weaker and weaker. The anagen phase is shorter and shorter, that at a point it just doesn't grow back, and it goes and it literally turns into scar tissue, and it's almost like it's impossible to get it back without a hair treatment. If your hair is gone and your skin is like, it's like skin there, you know how you see some people and it's like skin there, like it's almost impossible to get it back, like almost impossible. Only a few lucky people like microneedling and like minoxidil will be able to get it back, but most likely you will need a hair transplant. So that's why it's so critical to, when you know you have androgenic alopecia, and a sign to do this is to really look at your scalp. And this is the Norwood scale that I'm gonna play right now, and you can see, you know, the natural progression of androgenic alopecia. It starts at the hairline, it goes back, then starts at the back, and it kind of like meets each other, right? And then, you know, you just have a bald scalp on top. And for most people, your sides and your back will stay the same. That's why you see like old people in movies, they'll have like the sides and the back, but they won't have the top. So you have to know if you have the androgenic alopecia genome, and to do this, look at your family. Look at your family, bro. If it is in your genetics, it is a very potent gene, if for some reason, right? And I was very unlucky because my dad doesn't have that bad of hair. Like, he does have a bald patch at the top, but that came like when he was like 32, right? And the rest he has, like his hairline's kind of intact, and the rest of the hair kind of looks healthy. It just has this like little bald patch on the back of his head. I was like, okay, let me look at my mom's dad, because that's how they usually say, you get your mom's dad's hair. My mom's dad's hair was the best hair I've ever fucking seen. Literally incredible hair. Even when he was 75, he had incredible hair. Yes, he had widow's peak, but he had incredible hair, and that came way later in like his life. And I was like, oh, okay, what the fuck? And then I looked at my uncle, and I have 2 uncles on my mom's side. One that has his dad's hair, which is great hair, and then the other one who's bald. I was like, ah, how fucking unlucky. It wasn't from him himself, but I'm just saying the gene was in my family tree to a point where it actually came on to me. And yeah, he had the same kind of hair loss as me, diffuse thinner, very, very, very thin now, because he never did any treatment. And yeah, I was like, fuck. But to go through this at 18, he started to go through it at like 30. And I was just like, oh, this just sucks. Anyway, so yes, look at your family. Look at, you know, your mum's uncles, your dad's uncles. If anyone's bald, you're technically not safe. You're really not safe. And it is way easier to prevent hair loss than it is to reverse hair loss. Preventing it is the main key because it is so difficult to reverse it, because at the point where you want to reverse it, you've already lost like 40,000 hairs on your scalp because it has to become noticeable first. Most people think that they just go through hair loss and it's already happened, right? So I started noticing my hair loss at 18. That means I started balding at like 16 or like 17. And it already started. It already started, and it did already start. I remember 17, my hairline on the right side was gone. I was like, oh, my hairline was always like that. I remember friends always giving me shit for it. I was like, bro, I've always had this hairline, like my right side's gone, but I still have my left side. But no, that's the starting of androgenetic alopecia. It usually starts on the right side as well. Okay, now let's go into the treatments I use. So, as you can tell by all the photos of, you know, my hair right now, let's put up a lot. Yep, really bad. Yep, had like 4 strands on my head, looking very thin, looking like, yeah, how you going, buddy? Time to shave it off. I am what you would call an aggressive, like I have aggressive androgenetic alopecia. Very aggressive, especially how young I was. Very aggressive androgenetic alopecia. So, the treatments I got on, first of all, finasteride. I went back on finasteride. Yes. Minoxidil. I started in the oral form, but I switched over about 5 months in because it was more safe to go to the topical form. I'll make a video about that another time of why topical form is better. And Sebazole, which is ketoconazole shampoo, but they sell it as the brand name Sebazole in Australia. And do not forget this guy. Microneedling. Microneedling was, in my opinion, like one of the biggest pushes in getting dead spots back. And I had dead spots on my right side and they weren't completely dead, but they looked pretty dead, to be honest. It looked like skin, like it was shiny. So, but maybe there was little hairs there because I was diffuse thinner, so maybe they were just really, really miniaturized, right? But this was crazy. This was crazy, coupled with minoxidil, like game changer, real game changer. And yeah, I really am a big believer of microneedling. I swear by it. Love it, and yeah, still do it to this day. Now, I started those treatments and we're gonna go through the timeline of my hair, you know, reversal journey. Now, this is my hair 1 to 3 months. Already you can see an insane change. Like already you can see, oh wow, density's come back a little bit and, you know, it's looking better, it's looking healthier. And then let's do 3 to 6 months, even looking better, right? So then we get to 8 months. You can see my hair, yeah, it's looking a lot better, looking a lot fuller, very nice, very good progress already. And honestly, I was so grateful because that was like what I hoped for. To get to the stage that I was at 8 months was what I like was just hoping that I could even get to, you know. I didn't even know if it was like possible because some people aren't even responders to the medication. But in my case, I was lucky in the sense that I had diffuse thinning, which means the hairs were very miniaturized, but that's a very good environment for treatment because it allows the hair to, you know, be resurrected in a sense, because when you already have scar tissue there, it's like near impossible to get your hair back without a hair transplant. So at 8 months is when I added more to the treatment and I was like, fuck it, how far can I go with this? So the treatments I added was tretinoin. What this does, this like doubles the effects of minoxidil because it allows the absorption into the, you know, the hair follicle, and it actually works really well for non-responders to minoxidil. And like there's heaps of research papers on when tretinoin's added that minoxidil actually starts working for non-responders. And also I added another treatment, the big one, which is like the last infinity stone, to my research subject was RU. It's an anti-androgen. So those were the medical treatments, and then I added a few other things that aren't as talked about, but definitely I think are a really big benefit of doing. I would exfoliate my scalp with salt, literally salt. So I'd put a bunch of salt in like water and, you know, then I'd put it throughout my scalp and I'd you know, exfoliated every week, once a week. And bonus perk with this is that your hair would look great after the salt exfoliating. So that was awesome. So then I'll do the salt exfoliating, I do the micro needling like later that day or that night. And then what I would do is that I would actually do treatment in my hair, because the problem is with Sebazole ketoconazole shampoo, I use this every day, and most people don't even use it every day because it makes your hair look so fucking bad, right? People use it like 2 to 3 times a week, but I use it every day. Like, here's an image of my hair. It literally looks like a haystack. Like, it looks like a tumble wheel in the desert. You know what I mean? It looked terrible. So I was like, okay, what's the point of getting my hair back and, you know, using this shampoo, which is, you know, a mild anti-androgen, and my hair looking fucking terrible, right? But I knew it works, and I knew that it was really good for my type of hair because I had very oily hair, especially when I started finasteride. Like, the testosterone on your scalp gets boosted, and it was just so oily and disgusting and just chat. And this literally cleans the scalp, puts down, helps with inflammation, and just, yeah, 100% I'm a big believer of ketoconazole shampoo as well. But it made my hair look terrible. So what I did is that I added treatments, oil treatments. So what I did, I would get a bowl, coconut oil, castor oil, rosemary oil, argan oil, olive oil, and then I would add aloe vera. Aloe vera is really good for hair growth and just hair health and, you know, like a stable hair environment. And what I do, I mix this all together in my little bowl, and then I put it in the microwave for like 20 seconds. So it was like warmish / hottish. So it would like really sink into the scalp. And I would do this once a week. And yeah, crazy, because my hair looked way better, felt healthier, grew better. And then I'd leave it in for about 3 to 4 hours, and I'd just wash it out. I'd, you know, do double shampooing. So I'd shampoo it once and shampoo it again to get rid of all the oil. But I saw a huge difference in hair health. The look of my hair, the shine of my hair, the state of my hair was just, it looked nourished. Whereas when I didn't do these oil treatments, especially with all these medical treatments that you do, right, it dries out your hair. In topical minoxidil, it's alcohol as well. It's mostly alcohol. So it's all very drying to the scalp, very drying to the hair. And also doing these oil treatments reduced, and the salt exfoliating treatment on my scalp is that it really got rid of like the dandruff that I had, because I used to have a lot of dandruff, and a lot of people are going to experience a lot of dandruff. But it would, so I'd cleanse the scalp, and then I would nourish the scalp with oil. So use salt first, then I'd do it with oil the next day when I'd wake up 3 to 4 hours and wash it out. And yeah, that really worked for me. I've never really heard anyone talk about it. I heard people do a few oil treatments, but I was doing this like weekly. It depends how much you want it, bro. It does take time. It takes consistency. And you know, there'd be times where I didn't want to do my hair or do the treatment on my hair, but I would do the treatment on my hair anyway. At the time, I was a bartender, and I'd finish work at like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. and I'd get home. Last thing I want to do, you know, these treatments in my scalp was the last thing I want to do, but I did it anyway because I knew the ROI on it is so worth it, bro, to have a good healthy head of hair. And to go from nothing to something is like crazy, and it was crazy worth it. I do not regret anything I did, and all the effort, all the time I put in really paid off. And you can achieve the same results, if not better. You're consistent with it, and you know, you're putting action in to resurrect your hair and save your hair. And trust me, bro, huge confidence booster. Not only that, I look way younger. I look way younger than I did 2 years ago. And it's not only the hair, it's also, I got a full-on skincare routine. If you boys want a video on that, let me know in the comments, because I have a elite skincare routine. I have an elite hair routine, and yeah, they've all really helped with confidence. And also, you don't really value your hair until you lose it. I didn't give a fuck about my hair, man. I really did not give a fuck. Like, I would be putting Lynx gel into it, and just fucking, it'd look horrible. Like, I never like styled it well, and it was just terrible. So to wrap up this video, bro, if I can do it, you can do it. And I understand the way that you're feeling right now. It is really scary, man. I know, I'd be in the shower as well, counting the hairs on my hand, man. And there'd be like 40 hairs on my hand. But you just need to stay consistent with the treatment. You gotta stay consistent. You gotta trust the process. Don't look at your hair until 6 months, and then evaluate your results and evaluate what else you wanna do, or any adjunct treatments that you wanna add. And yeah, just know that it is possible. It is possible. And if people are telling you to shave your head, you don't need to yet, man. at least try 6 to 12 months of trying to do your hair, because a lot can change in that time period, and 100% you're gonna have some good results, bro. Get through it, boys. Hair loss is fucking scary, especially if you're young or you're middle age right now. You can beat it. You can reverse hair loss, because I had a very aggressive type of hair loss and I was able to, so you can too. All right, take care, bro. I'll see you next video.